As be noted, I call the member for Riverina.
Well, thank you, Deputy Speaker. And last night, Wagga Wagga City Council has put forward a motion which was passed unanimously, saying that the federal government should nationalise REX. Now, I've said from the outside of REX's financial difficulties, and it went into voluntary administration at the end of July, that all options need to be on the table. And I've raised the possibility of the federal government having an equity stake in REX to ensure the airline's future. That said, the federal government is not usually in the business of owning airlines, as important as that might be for many people. What the crucial aspect of REX's turbulence at the moment is the fact that they are the only ones who service many country towns. And so for those country towns, if not for REX, they would not be able to get planes into their airports, and therefore they wouldn't be able to get doctors and nurses and vaccines and medication, most importantly. Also, people in those towns would not be then able to make their capital city medical appointments. And it's more than just health, and we all know that. It's business, it's tourism, it's so many aspects of modern living is why regional people need, expect, demand and deserve to have air services. And certainly for Wagga Wagga, we are the benefits of not only having REX but also obviously Qantas Link, as are many other regional places. And if REX is not flying, then that just leaves it open to Qantas Link being the only airline, and therefore prices go up. There is no competition, and that would be of huge disadvantage for people who call the regions home. And I know when I was the Deputy Prime Minister and we had the global pandemic, I was proud of the assistance that I provided not only to REX Airlines but every airline in Australia. And certainly in REX's case it was around $60 million of support, because I knew that planes in the air meant jobs on the ground. And Labor often criticised me and yelled across the chamber during question time, "You're the Minister for REX." Well, I took that as a badge of honour, because in the rest of the world there were 26 airlines, national carriers, large airlines of the size of, say, Virgin, that went bankrupt during COVID-19. Went bankrupt. They're no longer operating. They're no longer flying. And I well remember talking about aviation to somebody who would know, and that is Warren Truss, the former member for Wide Bay, the former Transport Minister, former Deputy Prime Minister, former Nationals leader. And Warren told me what a volatile industry aviation is. And he was right, like that and everything else that Warren ever set his mind to. One of the finest ministers I've ever seen, somebody who read every single line of every single piece of legislation that was ever put before him. And he knew and he understood aviation. And I will say, and this might come as a surprise to those opposite, but so too does the Prime Minister, current Prime Minister, member for Grayndler. And I can well remember taking him into my confidence when I wanted to discuss with him matters of aviation importance, and on a confidential basis we talked about what the then opposition might agree to and what they might disagree about on matters of aviation and transport generally. And they were good meetings, and they were successful meetings, and I respect his view, just like I respect he is at the moment and hopefully will in the future do the right thing by REX. And I know the government is underwriting the tickets. I know they're underwriting the routes. I know they're underwriting regional express services for regional people, and the government must continue to do this whilst Ernst Young works through the process with potential buyers. It's a difficult process. I understand that. Getting a buyer for an airline that is experiencing tough times is hard. Wagga Wagga needs REX. We've got the maintenance hangar at the Wagga Wagga Airport. Those operations just in Wagga Wagga alone employs around 170, 180 people. That contributes $12 million to the local economy. And it's too big an airline to fail. It was a folly, in hindsight, of course, that Rex took on the capital city to capital city routes. And the Sydney to Melbourne air route is one of the busiest in the world. And to take on Virgin and Qantas on that route, in hindsight, was a mistake. Rex was making reasonable money in the black year after year. They'd won many international awards for being the regional airline of choice, a regional airline that Australia obviously was very proud of, but a globally recognised airline. And I would urge and encourage any country commuter who is flying, if they have a choice, to fly Rex, because if you don't use something, often you lose something, and we simply cannot afford to lose Rex. So it's involuntary administration. I appreciate the government is doing what it needs to at the moment. I would implore the government, through the Prime Minister, who, as I said, understands aviation, through the Transport Minister, to do all it can to keep Rex planes in the air, because it's too important not to. Now, Wagga Wagga City Council's letter will obviously be landing on the Prime Minister, if not the Transport Minister's desk, if not both, and I will certainly be following that up as well. So I commend Council for taking an interest in this matter. Rest assured, I've been on the case, and I will continue to do just that. This is a grievance debate. Grievances are obviously issues of concern, and I am concerned very much about the parlous state of regional Australia at the moment under this government. And you only have to ask any irrigation farmer. I appreciate I have the member for Nichols behind me, and I'm sure he would appreciate better than most how difficult it is for our farmers who grow the food and fibre that feeds our nation and many others besides, that puts the clothes on people's backs, just how difficult it is for those farmers under this Labor government, because they're in there buying water, distorting the water market. We need that water flowing down those irrigation channels to ensure that our farmers can be the best they are in the world. I think our farmers sometimes get a bad rap. I think our farmers are sometimes not seen as the great environmental stewards that they are. Our farmers are the best environmentalists in the world. Make no mistake about that. They are the best, and we should thank our farmers every time we tuck our knees under the table to eat. 3 times a day, every day. Breakfast, lunch and dinner. We should be saying to our farmers, thank you for the job that you do. Often, at the vagaries of the weather, they work for 12 months and earn absolutely nothing. And they need a better government. They do. And hopefully after the next election they will have a better government who will treat their needs far more diligently and carefully, with far more considered action than this Labor government. But what I would really hate to see, and what would be a real grievance for me, because I'll always say that the very worst Labor member is going to always be better than the very best Greens political party member. Always. Always. And I'm sure I will have a chorus of support about that. And what I really don't want to see, is a Labor, Greens, Albanese, Bant alliance after the next election. And it just does my head in, because we saw just yesterday the all-too-cosy relationship between the Greens political party and Labor. And the Greens have caved in on the housing at what was the sort of cosy little deal, the little arrangement they may have made that we'll find out. But the Greens stand for upsetting the rhythm of the traditions of this nation, turning society on its head. That's what the Greens stand for. If they were just an environmental party, all well and good, but they're not. They want to change Australia. They want to rip down the flag. They want to end Australia Day. They want to ban horse racing. They stand for everything that the Nationals do not stand for. And I tell you what, if Labor has this cosy relationship after the next election with them, God help Australia.